Well, from the rise of TikTok to the decline of newsstands and paper delivery, media has had quite the makeover in the past decade.
Yeah, now the state of funding news programs to train students on how to keep up. We've got our friend Jamaica Ponder here with more, and that's the big question. How do we keep it relevant, you know?
Well, they're training young people to learn how to do, well, kind of what I do on a daily basis, which is write, edit, produce, shoot video content. And they provide all the training and professional mentorships to these college kids and recent graduates before they enter the industry. But their stories don't just stay in-house. They're published and they air on TV. And they let me sit in on their most recent production.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Precious Adediran and her team are spending the morning and the better part of the afternoon filming out and around the Institute for the Study of Advanced Cultures on the University of Chicago's campus.
So Chicago. Bye, guys.
Their show, So Chicago, is one of a list of programs they produce as part of their internships with the Kickback Creative Hub.
You get to bounce off ideas with one another and create a lot of shows, from touring Chicago like myself to Mix and Munch, where we're cooking lots of foods, to really in general even making music.
Inside the hub, there are scores of equipment, green screens, cameras, editing software, and the machines that run it.
There's nothing short of mentorship here and resources, so I'm always staying like a sponge and trying to soak up knowledge wherever I can.
Everyone learns how to do everything to get them ready for the very real demands of an ever-changing media industry.
When I started in media, at CBS by the way, you did one thing. You were a producer. You were a cameraman. You were a writer. But now the world has changed. You might write, you might produce, you might shoot, you might be the talent, and you've got to have proficiency in all of that.
The whole Kickback setup is the latest creation of Dr. Hermaine Hartman, founder and publisher of the Black legacy newspaper, Indigo.
We printed until 2017, and until there was a real dive in the newspaper business as well as magazines.
When Indigo was pivoting to digital, so was most of the industry. So Dr. Hartman decided to go back to what she knew.
I went to television, so I started doing Indigo Studio. After realizing that not only had the mediums changed, newspaper, magazines, digital, but the dollars changed too.
Shortly into her foray back into TV, Dr. Hartman was approached by State Representative LaShawn Ford.
He pulled me to the side and he says, you know, you ought to be sharing the skill set of cameras and sounds and television with students, because as you know, there is a lack of Black professionals in the news industry. And so I said, okay, let's do it.
2 years and a state-funded grant later, the hub has served as a training ground for 40 young Black Chicagoans in the art of content creation.
We're recognizing a media gap, and thank goodness that some legislators, some politicians are trying to fulfill it.
Dr. Hartman brings in media professionals to work alongside her interns and teach lectures on different parts of the craft.
They're learning collaboration, they're learning team building, they're learning how to use various equipment. We're talking about camera work, we're talking about sound, we're talking about lighting, we're talking about perspective. I can see professionalism growing, and they know how to go in, they know how to set up, they're not afraid, they're not timid, they can take charge, and they can do their thing.
The Kickback Creative Hub's programming can be found all over the internet, their social media pages, and even on TV in Canada. All internships are paid and last for around 6 months until they graduate out. And right now they're taking on about 20 interns a year.
You know, the part I loved about it when she said they're not timid, they're confident, and I think that's a huge part, because whenever I mentor a student, I'm like, okay, you can have the skills, but you've got to have the confidence to go with it, to say, I'm going to do this project, I'm going to put my all into it, and it's going to be great, you know, so I love that.
And I think you highlighted her. She is the impetus of this.
Yes,
and
yes.
She's giving them that. I love her trying to, you know, help journalism survive.
I know, and she's been doing it for so long, been such a trailblazer, and still making sure that young people are keeping our industry alive, and it's just really great to see.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing it with us, and I'm glad to get to spend some time with you too.
Yeah.